Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you if you are a new subscriber trying me out, giving me a little test run. I recently got a cute, sweet, super nice shout out from Shaughnessy. I will link her channel down below. She does this series where she likes to highlight other Black booktubers and other POC booktubers. So I was like super honored to be included. It's a series that I've followed for a while now. So thank you if you're giving me a try. Today I'm gonna be talking about all the books I read in August, aka my August wrap up. I'm having a little bit of a weird day. I've taken a bunch of takes of this intro already, and we're just gonna roll with it. I am excited to talk about these books that I read in August, even though it felt like a really long time ago by now. We'll just start. So the first one I completed in August was Someone You Can Build a Nest In. This is a horror, cozy monster book with like romance. I was actually just like sitting doing my hair, and usually I like watch Netflix or like YouTube or whatever, but I was like, let me reallocate my time and listen to an audiobook. And it's a book that my friend Kristen from Kristen Craves Books really enjoyed. I'm pretty sure she enjoyed it. Then she told me there was romance in it on a live show, and I was like, what? Intrigued. Honestly, while I was reading it, like the romance wasn't even the most interesting part. Like I just had a great time learning about this main character. So this story is about Succubuss. She is the monster. She is like terrorizing this small village or city, I don't know. Just think like old-timey fairy tale vibes, right? And the way she is described as a monster is so interesting. I haven't read anything like it before. The way her body is very malleable and how she can like attack people and like take their body parts to like boost herself, or like even objects, so she could use like a bear trap as like a jaw. Like things like that were really interesting. And like the plot of the story is kind of just her trying to survive against the village trying to kill her. And it evolves and it gets more complicated beyond that. But it was honestly very cozy. There is queer representation in this book as well. Succubuss is she, her pronouns, and her love interest is a woman. So that's awesome rep if you're looking for some queer rep with a monster. Also, I would say this book is quite gruesome. Like I said before, it is horror. And there's like a lot of violence, but somehow it just manages to still be fun and like cozy and not that scary. It's not like scary, it's just like, wow, like she's a monster and this is what she does to survive. So I really enjoyed that. Then I read Heartless by Elsie Silver. I have been going through her backlist. This is the second book in her Chestnut Spring series. This is the second time I'm reading this book, and I still really loved it. I think originally I gave it 4.5, and this time I'm just gonna round up to 5 stars. I love it. This book is between Willa and Cade. It is a Canadian cowboy, small town vibes romance. Willow is like she like does like show horses and stuff, like she rides like show horses and stuff. It doesn't show any of that aspect of her life. We kind of just meet her when she's visiting her bestie, who is the heroine in the first book, and her bestie lives on this farm with her fiance and like all his family members and stuff. So he's got like a few brothers and his dad lives there. Willow's just hanging out and finds out that one of the brothers, Cade, needs a nanny for the summer to watch his maybe 5-ish-year-old son, and she volunteers to do it because her horse is like out of commission. She doesn't have anything to do. She's a little bit of a whimsical character. She's not super like set in any kind of life path at the moment. She's young. She's in her low 20s, I'd say, and Cade is older. He's probably late 30s. He's a bit grumpy, so their dynamic is really fun, getting to see how she falls for the little boy as well as the father is an enjoyable time, and this romance is quite steamy, which I love. And just seeing how Cade falls for her, even though he really doesn't want to tie himself down to another woman because he's been burned in the past. But Willa is just such a firecracker. She is so protective of his son. And yeah, I just really loved this book in the series, and I would highly recommend it. So the next book I want to briefly talk about is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is book 5 in the series. I'm working my way through the entire series for a huge all-inclusive reading vlog. I'm obviously on book 6 since I finished this one, but I haven't picked it up, and I finished this in August, and it's currently towards the end of September. This one, unfortunately, was not my favorite in the series, and it's big. You spend a lot of time in this scenario with the characters. Exactly 870 pages. That is a lot of pages. I really enjoy how J.K. Rowling like really preps the reader for the big epic battles at the end. She just adds a lot of that like necessary context and like learning from the kids, like so you can understand like how they're able to do certain things or like why decisions are made and like little Easter eggs and stuff. Love that. This one just lasted way too long. This is the one with Umbridge, and she's just taken over the school because things have happened with leadership. I won't spoil it for you because this isn't the vlog, but she is just a terror, okay? And she makes life miserable for all the characters and me as the reader. So yeah, big things happen at the end. I gave it 3 stars. I don't want to give too much away because this, I mean, it's a very well-beloved series and it's very old, so it's hard to spoil it, but like I won't do that here. The vlog will be full spoilers. So look out for that. Hopefully it'll be out, hopefully this year. It better be. I'm determined. I'm gonna aim for like Christmas time. Okay? So, because I gotta edit it too, man. That's gonna be hours and hours. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be longer than a movie, but I'll chapter it. Anyway, too much. Moving on. Next, I finished Same Time Next Year, which is a shorter novella by Tessa Bailey. And this is between our heroine, Britta. She is a bartender and she has a half-brother who's on a hockey team. They're not pro hockey players, but they're like, whatever is the tier below that. And sometimes they get like moved up to the pro level. Her brother has a teammate who's been obsessed with her. He's like been in love with her since he's laid eyes on her. And the interesting part about it that I haven't really read before is that Britta knows that he's in love with her. But she's like, no, I'm not looking for a relationship. The thing, however, is that Britta's American, this team is in America, and the guy, Sumner, the love interest, he's Canadian. So he's really close to like moving up to the pro level, but he really needs to stay on this team in America to get noticed. His teammates convince Britta to marry him for at least a year so he can stay in the US and like make his dreams come true and go pro and all that stuff. And it's their little fun romance. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. I felt like it met my expectations fairly well. The writing style sometimes was a little choppy because it jumps through time kind of fast. Like you don't see the wedding, you don't see, like there are like things that they skip. I'll give it some grace because it is a novella, but the spicy scenes were still really fun. I thought them getting to know each other was pretty fun. It wasn't like the strongest thing I've ever read from Tessa Bailey, but if you're just looking for a quick novella from a familiar author that's just like light and easy, this is a good option. I'm just remembering some of the scenes where he's just so like in so deep with her, like in love, and he's just saying stuff and she's like, dude, I'm not ready for all that yet. Can you slow down? She's like, I have commitment issues and you're over here professing your love, like slow down. And it's just funny. Enjoyed that overall. And then the next book I read is a 5-star read. I gushed about this in my last reading vlog, and that is Annie Bot. This is a very short sci-fi novel about a sex robot named Annie. She is autodidactic, so she has like her own mind. She can make her own decisions. She has a level of autonomy, I guess? She's more human than the average robot would be, right? And she's more evolved than the other autodidactic robots. So they kind of want to figure out what her deal is. And she is owned by this man, Doug. The thing about this book is that it is death by 1,000 cuts in the best way possible. I just felt so much domestic pain and suffering for our heroine Annie in this. I just loved the way the author handled such a familiar premise with like, oh, the robots are turning human and like they're gonna whatever, you know, like that kind of vibe. I feel like we've all seen it, but I haven't ever seen it done this way. There are times when you just want like these big dramatic moments to like get revenge or just have things go over the rails, have like these like huge, like, is it Michael Bay? Like Michael Bay explosion moments. And this book doesn't do that, but the power of these subtle moments and these subtle decisions and the feelings that they evoke are just for me, they were very strong and very effective. I ended up reading this book in like 24 hours just because the pain I literally felt for Annie was so severe. I needed the book to be over. I needed to know the conclusion so that I could be relieved of the suffering that I was enduring and that she was enduring, and just like take a breath. So absolutely love this. Would definitely recommend it. Just be aware that, you know, she's a sex robot, so like sex is very prevalent in the book. It is not romanticized at all. It is not steamy. It is a bit graphic. Not all the time, but like, you know, it's described. I just loved the way it ended. I happened to check the 1-star reviews as well, just for giggles. And I'm convinced that the people that rated this 1 star did not read the same book as me. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. And I'm just so happy that I feel like I'm someone that gets it. You know, obviously I can't like know 100% like what this author, Sierra Greer, if that's how you pronounce her name, if that was like her intention, but like I feel like I got it and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I want to recommend this to everybody. I was telling my book club friend Madeline about it and I was like, you need to read this, and she said she heard about it. I would have given it to her, but I didn't have it at the time, and I kind of just, I'm scared I'm not going to get it back. So hopefully she reads it of her own accord, and I hope you read it as well, and I hope you are on the same page with me and that you absolutely love it. That's not me overhyping it at all. It took me by surprise, okay? Books that end up taking me by surprise, you know, are very likely to get 5 stars because, like, what are my expectations at? It's just like, if you can really surprise me and you're doing something different, like 5 stars. I'm obsessed. If I had to read it in a day because of the panic and the like 5 stars. If I felt like the message was beautiful and like insane and like nuanced and like beautifully crafted, like 5 stars. It's easy. Next, I read Joyland by Stephen King. I picked this up in like a little free library, I'm pretty sure. And unfortunately, it's gonna find its way back into another one because I did not enjoy this book and I am gonna send it off into the universe again. I do not need to keep this in my home. I listened to this mainly via audio and then did a tandem towards the end. This is about a man who is working at not really a carnival because it doesn't travel, an amusement park, like a real old-timey amusement park. There's like a haunted attraction and the like murders that happened at the park and the serial murders that are being suspected of happening or have happened, and they're like trying to investigate it. It just like wasn't scary. It wasn't that thrilling, but I read it and I tried it, and it's a Stephen King, so I'm excited to try more Stephen Kings. He's obviously very well-known and loved author, and I've never seen anybody talk about this one. I just happened to find it. If you're looking for random Stephen King books that are outside of the normal, like It and, I don't know, did he write The Shining? I don't know, like the typical books that everybody knows, this would be one of them. You could try it, but like I wouldn't recommend it. You could skip it also. That's probably why nobody talks about it. I ended up giving this 2 stars. And then in that same vlog where I read Annybot and Joyland, I was reading on my Kindle the Succubuss Prize, which is a part of Katie Roberts' Deal with the Demon series, and I just wasn't vibing it. I just didn't really enjoy it. I feel like a lot of the books in that series besides the first one have been so-so or misses, even though I did read the other ones to the end. This one is about a woman who is tied to this succubus. It has queer representation. There's a lot of they, them characters throughout the series, and the succubus that is our main character in this one is she, them pronouns, I believe. Gender is very fluid in the succubus community, which was cool, but I just didn't connect with any of the characters. And also, I'm just like really not in my poly, like why choose mood right now. Like part of the deal with these demons is that they want to like repopulate their communities with like half human babies because it increases the magic and stuff. So the succubus was going to share our heroine with like her community to like maybe try to have her have a baby with somebody, and like there was like orgies and stuff. I don't know. It just like literally did nothing for me. So I decided to DNF, because what's the point of reading books that you're not enjoying? I don't have to write an assignment. I'm not in high school. I'm like well past that phase of my life where I have to read books, besides like for my book club. You know, I'll read books for my book club. But yeah, I don't know. I was like, there's nothing to force me to read this book, so I'm gonna DNF because I'm just not having fun. and reading is about having fun, in my opinion, or learning something, and I wasn't doing either of those things. And now again, I read this other book too in that same vlog, so if you watched that, thank you if you watched it all the way to the end. But I read My Husband, My Stalker. This is another Jessica Cain. She is a super short, smutty novella author, and I tend to just keep going back for her, even though sometimes she does me dirty, like she did this book. I ended up giving it 2 stars. It's about this hitman, Evan, who happens to see our heroine, Jolie, on TV one night when he's in his hotel room. She is coming out of the courtroom because she was in a, like, criminal case with this guy that, like, kidnapped her. It was, like, her old coworker or something, and she's quite traumatized from this, understandably. But he sees her, and he's, like, so in love. I was going through some of the other reviews on this book, and the way this one reviewer, like, put... I'll scroll through it if I can find it. She puts like this picture of a person like face planted onto the screen, like, oh, and that was like him. Like, he was like obsessed with her from seeing her on the TV. He's like insta lust. He's like, she needs to be mine, da 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 da. But in the interview Jolie gives to like reporters, she's just like, yeah, I'm just trying to move on from this trauma and have a normal life. So he's like, bet. I will be a normal man. And he like changes his name, he moves into the house next to her and like pretends to be like an accountant or something, right, to meet her. Of course, they instantly fall in love, and then within 2 weeks, he convinces her to marry him. So now they're married. And he has this whole secret life that she doesn't know about. And she doesn't know how obsessed he is with her because he's trying to like tone it down. But he's barely keeping it together. And it's that story. So yeah, like on the surface, like it sounds like a fun, silly, good time, but in Jessica Cain typical fashion, she just went a little bit too far with the daddy kink, and daddy kink is just something I barely tolerate. If you like really like in-depth, not in-depth, but like daddy kink that goes kind of far, like yeah, check out this one. Like you might like it. I didn't, but you might. All right, those are all the books that I read in August. I hope you enjoyed spending a little bit of time with me and listening to me go on and on about books. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and obviously it helps out my channel. And I will catch you in another video. Bye.